In this video, we're going to take a look at JUnit dependency injection. And you might be thinking, wow, we can do dependency injection with JUnit? Kind of. Like especially spring guys, don't get too far ahead of yourselves. It's kind of limited. What JUnit has done is they've defined a parameter resolver API to resolve parameters at runtime. So these have to have a resolver and extend a specific interface to be resolved, so to speak. And what this allows JUnit to do is to inject these properties, these objects, into your test methods. So it's kind of limited in scope right now. You don't have a lot of ability, but you do have some pretty interesting stuff that's built into JUnit 5. Now, the API is extensible, but there's only 3 built-in resolvers, and I got them listed here on the slides. One is going to be test info. That's going to provide information about your test, things like the test name, method, tags, and whatnot. Then next is going to be repetition info. So we just looked at repeated test a minute ago. So you can get a handle on that and see what iteration you're on. So that could be a very handy one. And then test reporter, that allows you to publish runtime information back to the metadata about the test that can be used for reporting later. So I'm going to jump over to IntelliJ now, and we'll take a look at an implementation to show you how easy it is to implement those. Okay, I've jumped over to IntelliJ. And one thing I want to point out is I made a small mistake here in the previous video. So I had repeated test, and I generated that via IntelliJ. You can see I'm getting a suspicious combination. So it seemed to run okay via IntelliJ, might cause problems elsewhere. Technically, I don't need that test annotation there, so I can drop that from there like so. That would be the preferred way. So that was definitely a mistake on my part in the previous video. So now what I can come in, I'm going to create a new test method. I'm just picking on the person test. And we'll call this my repeated test with DI. So we'll call this guy repeated test. And we'll just run him 5 times. Now what we can do here is we want to look at the dependency injection. If I do info like so, and I can also get the repetition info. So now I have these two objects here. Those are going to be injected into the test at runtime. And what I can do is come up here, do a system out, test info. I can do display name. And let's do this. Like so, and then we'll also do repetition info, and see the properties here. I have total repetitions and current repetitions. So let's do that like so. And let's go ahead and run this. And now you can see I'm getting the test name. So it's doing something pretty simple here. So I could combine in display name and things like that and get some more information out of this. But the core thing that I want you to get out of this video here specifically is now I have a test method and I've passed in parameters to it. So through this dependency injection inside of JUnit, we have these objects that we can specify our test methods with. So all I've done is added in test info and repetition info to the method parameters of our test case. And now JUnit is going ahead and injecting those. So kind of handy tool here. You might want to get a hold of that repetition. You could do some interesting stuff with that inside of a repeated test. So very nice feature and functionality here, something that we'll be exploring more in upcoming videos.